Hey guys, Reckoning here. Welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. In the last part, we ended off Act 1 and started on Act 2, Hide and Seek. And apparently, Misha thinks that we're on a date with Hanako. Though we're not. Or she was just teasing us. And Shizune seems to be deliberately ignoring us. Probably because we didn't spend the day with her. So maybe Shizune still kind of has a thing for Hisao? Or almost at Hanako. No, it was Misha that's the lesbian, not Shizune. That was kind of why there was such a problem in Shizune's arc, but I'm getting sidetracked. This is Hanako's arc, not Shizune's. We finished that already. Was it a lack of eyesight, or was Lily just kind enough to lend a hand? I wonder if anyone would have fit the bill. Well, I'm here. Besides, we're not going far. It'll be over before you know it. Hanako's knuckles slowly regain the color as she tries to hide a small smile, but the effort of that seems to prevent further conversation. We travel side by side down the winding road toward the town. The crowd of students thins as we continue along the sidewalk. Faster students rush ahead and the less mobile ones fall behind, rarefying the crowd into nothingness. By the time we reach the convenience store, we are practically alone. Using me as a shield between herself and the attendant, Hanako moves through the narrow aisles, adding an assortment of items to her basket. Bread, milk, tea. Thyme? What kind of convenience store sells herbs? Then again, nothing about this town seems normal, which may not be such a bad thing in retrospect. Everything was so different and uncomfortable, dwelling on such matters isn't really an option. When I think about that, it reminds me of Hanako. No matter how much you try, you can't escape her scars. They still interrupt my train of thought when I see them. As much as I don't want to admit it to myself, I think I'm forcing myself to try to ignore them. Not that I'm scar-free myself. The jagged line down my sternum will never completely fade away. I just have the luxury of being able to hide it easily. But in a way, both of our scars remind me that we're all in this place for a reason. Hanako throws one last item into her basket, then sheepishly holds it out to me, along with a few banknotes. Could you please... It takes me a second to understand what she's trying to say. Oh, you want me to pay for this? She nods but doesn't look up. I guess this task falls to Lily on the usual occasions. Sure, let me just grab a couple of things. Hastily, I grab a few essential items for myself and head for the counter with Hanako in close tow. The attendant gives me an indifferent nod as he scans in the items. I suppose just ignoring us is one way to deal with the anomalies of Yamaku. They must get a lot of students here, being the closest store to the school. The staff must have their own way of dealing with us, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's only me who thinks twice about my unique schoolmates. Our transaction complete, Hanako and I head back out into the street. The road is pretty much abandoned now. The students that were heading out have already left, and nobody has started returning just yet. And with only the road ahead on the view, there doesn't seem to be anyone else around. The emptiness certainly reflects on Hanako, her arms by her sides, each carrying a bag, her head no longer bowed, and back to the upright position. It's almost as if she were enjoying this walk. So why all these weird things? Mixed spice? Why would you need that in school? I sometimes like to make food. Well, yeah, so do I, but spices? That's a little more advanced, don't you think? Not really. I think it's cool. You have to teach me one day. Sure. She doesn't seem all that sure, but pushing the point doesn't seem all that wise. At the very least, she seems a great deal happier than she did on the walk down here. That alone makes me a little happier. Outside the girls' dorm, Hanako and I sort out the grocery bags with our respective purchases. In comparison, my things look positively plain. How did I currently get down there? I tell you, you're putting me to shame here. But no, I'm not. I'm only joking. I have a stack of homework that I skipped last week, so I must leave now. You be alright getting back to your room? Yeah. Sure? Okay then, see you tomorrow. Bye. We part ways and I return to my room. Piles of paper sit upon my desk, begging to be completed. With the entire ruckus of the last week, I barely had any time to catch up. I tried to keep up with my studies while I was in the hospital, but some of the stuff I've never seen before, even back in my old school. Totally unprepared, I pop the top on a can of a drink and get to work. The days are really starting to heat up. This morning, I woke covered in sweat. By the time the student body starts leaving their dorms for breakfast and morning duties, the sun has taken full effect. Oddly, that puts me in high spirits. It's not even 8, yet I feel that this day is going to be one of those pleasant, tranquil, warm ones. If I weren't at a school that considered every absence from class as a sign of life-threatening situation, I'd consider skipping the whole day and just relaxing in the school gardens. Yes, today will be a genuinely lazy day. For a second, I stopped in mid-stretch and considered the nurse's warning about exercise. Maybe I should have kept up those morning jogs. Running with someone like Amy might have been a little testing, but if I worked at my own pace... who am I kidding? I couldn't stick to something like that without some kind of motivation. It's not like I sit around all day. The walk to and from the convenience store counts as exercise, right? Especially the walk back up the hill. Yeah, it's no big deal. Compared to months lying in a hospital bed, I'm getting plenty of exercise. He's right in a way. It seems that I'm not alone in my appreciation of the day. Nearly every member of the class is glancing through the window and into the tantalizing sky. Even the steadfast Shizune seems to lack her usual vigor for schoolwork. Misha, as brazen as ever, has even unbuttoned the top buttons of her shirt and is fanning herself with a notebook. I must have been staring, as now she's sticking her tongue out at me. However, she shows no signs of halting her efforts, nor she's trying to hide the fact. Must have missed that part when I went over this before. Then again, I skipped through this, so I didn't know that happened. Interesting. The lunch bell seemed to catch everyone by surprise, and the class empties at a much slower pace than usual. The heat seems to be draining the need to rush from everyone. Well, almost everyone. Hisao. Hey there, Hanako. What can I do for you today? Hanako already has a lunch bag in hand. I don't have to be a detective to work out where this is going. Would you like to have lunch with us again? I brought enough for everyone. Awesome, you don't have to be so stiff about it, though. Oh, right. I take them going to the tea room? But please. Lily said she'll meet us in there, so we should go ahead together. Sounds like a plan. This heat has made me pretty hungry. Hanako breathed a sigh of relief, and I gathered my things together. As usual, the aura of the tea room is refreshing, feeling isolated from the rest of the world. Then again, the usual din of the school seems to be a bit subdued, most likely from laziness promoted by heat exhaustion. Hanako slowly spreads her food on the table, intently focusing on every little movement, as if she's trying to keep her mind off other thoughts. It's not much, but I can tell from her demeanor that she has prepared everything with utmost care. I guess Lily isn't here yet. Should we start without her? She'll be here soon. Hanako struggles with the lid of the container of rice. Here, let me help you with that. I take the container from Hanako's hands and try to force open the lid. Try as I might, it seems wedged shut. Let me guess, did you put this in while the rice was still hot? Yes, I was in a rush. I put the container on the table between us. Thought so. It looks like this is wedged shut. We'll need some hot water to get it open. That could be a pan in here. We'd get water everywhere. Well, in that case, how would I contribute to today's meal? At the door, Lily smiles while holding up a bag stocked with various buns and bread rolls. I can't help but do the same. Since you two had a change of plans because of me, I thought I'd bring a little something. Thanks, Lily. Here, let me get that for you. With a little guidance, Lily's bread assortment joins Hanako's riceless platter. I hastily make some tea to complete the picture. Well, I'm looking forward to this. As I take a bite, I notice Hanako trying her hardest not to look like she was looking at me. It's nothing special, but I can't really complain. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cooking for myself. Not bad. I guess this is made with the stuff you bought yesterday? Yes. Hanako's eyes shout at me, begging for some kind of feedback. Well, it was clearly worth it. Thanks, Hanako. I wanted to show you this after yesterday. It's okay. I was just a little surprised at the stuff you were buying. Hanako's always liked to experiment when it comes to food. I think it's good, most of the time. While Lily's smile doesn't waver, the slight change in her tone tells me that things have not gone so well in the past. And it's not like Hanako has many people to sample her cooking. Hang on, was Lily waiting for me to go first? She didn't start eating until after I said it was alright. Her cheeky grin tells me this is a deliberate action on our part. I'll have to try and work out how to get one over on her in the future. I'll make up for this. Well, it's good, and that's all that counts, right? Right. Lily, satisfied at not being the first to sample Hanako's creation, begins to consume the food in front of her. I find myself staring as I watch her chopsticks gently touch the plate, their tips delicately poking and tracing to quickly ascertain the positions of the food as she dexterously picks it up. One might think she were a child playing with her food if not for the situation, though she does it with such care and thoughtlessness that it's obviously this is simply how she eats this kind of meal. Not wanting to miss out, I start filling up myself. Hanako takes a different approach, waiting till Lily and I have our hands clear before quickly snatching up her share. Before long, the containers are empty, save for the still-shut rice container. Thank you, Hanako. That was filling. No, thank you for the bread. Yes, it would have been a disaster if not for that. You're both welcome. But now I must be getting back. It's far too easy to be late after eating here. Yeah, I see what you mean. I think we'll just clean up here and then hunt off. Well then, good day. Lily leaves, her cane tapping away down the quiet hallway. Hanako and I quickly pack our things and stay seated, waiting for the bell. Together, we stare out the window into the endless azure sky. If it weren't for the pealing of the bells, I would have sworn the time had stopped. The urge to skip class rises in my gut. I shoot a glance at Hanako, who shows no signs of moving either. Not just yet. The interval between the warning bells and the engine lunch bells passes in the blink of an eye. We really should go. People will freak out and start a search party if we skip. Hanako sighs. You're right. Slowly, she rises to her feet, and I follow suit. Silently, we make our way up the old stairs to the third floor, and then to our classroom. At the door, I take point and open the door ahead of Hanako, bowing my head down in apology in advance. I'm sorry, Lily, teacher. I'm greeted not by stern words, nor by an angered instruction to take my seat, but simply by the silence created by 15 or so students trying not to laugh. Muto, ever tardy, has yet to arrive. However, the fact that Hanako and I have arrived together is blatantly obvious. Pwah. Make that about 14 students trying and 1 student failing. Wah! The lovers return! Wah! Yeah, thanks. You can calm down now. I step through the door and realize that Hanako is firmly pressed against my back, hiding herself from the class. With my steps coming closer to my desk, she eventually breaks from me and stiffly walks to her own. Her efforts to mentally block everyone's presence from her mind are really written clearly on her face. Quickly checking the door for any signs of the teacher's arrival, I make a trip to Hanako's desk and whisper in her ear. Don't worry about Misha, she's always like this. I enjoyed myself today. Don't sweat it, okay? Hanako nods her head behind her folded arms, but still doesn't show her face. I yearn to stay and console her more, but Muto picks this exact moment to enter the class halfway through his lecture as if he started from the hallway. Which, of course, is directly proportional to the charge, but inversely proportional to the square of the distance. He's so engrossed in his speech that he doesn't even notice me sneaking back to my seat from Hanako's desk. While Muto's spiel rambles on, Misha leans over to me. The teacher may not have noticed your tardiness, but I did. That much is obvious from the show you just put on. I've been instructed to let you off the hook for today, but only on one condition. Oh, and what would that be? You have to help us this afternoon. I crane my neck to look over Misha's shoulder. Shizuna is conveniently not making eye contact with me. Fine, just for today. I've already told you I'm not joining the council, remember? Of course, doing so would be considered. She looks down at a notebook, obviously looking for her place in her script. under duress and hence would be against regulations. How very strange of you to be considerate of the regulations now. Things should be done by the book. It's just that the book hasn't been written for every situation, so there are times when it can be ignored. And yet you two wonder why no one else wants to be in the student council. I don't think she'd like that. After poking her tongue out at me, Misha returned to her workbook, and we battle our way through the latter half of the school day. Before I can even stand up, Misha and Shizune have placed their hands on both my shoulders. Hey, I said I'd help out, damn. This is just insurance, Hisao. Insurance. Called us Hisao for once. Hisao? Hanako timidly tries to leave the room by circling around us, and I suddenly realize that this may be my one chance to escape. Oh hey Hanako, what's up? Hey, what makes you think you got time to chat? Oh, relax, this won't take long. Sorry, Hanako, you were saying? I was gonna go to the library and I thought... Hanako's thumbs dance around each other and her eyes flit around the room, looking everywhere but at us. Sorry, Hanako, but Hisao has to come with us. He's got work to do. Oh, but you can help too if you'd like. How about it, Hisao? Oh, damn it. One moment. One moment. I need to check which one I should take. Oh, fantastic. Damn. Anyway, well, the Hanako route actually has 3 endings. Good, bad, and neutral. Unfortunately, if we want to go for the bad ending, which I'm going to do first, then the neutral, then the good, it just works out better that way, that has to start here. Meaning this this arc is probably going to take more time than the Shizune one did. Damn. Well, let's make a save state. Damn it. So already this is not going to be good. Well then, obviously the correct answer is what do you think, Hanako? But it's going for bad ending, unfortunately. Well, first, we're going to do all the other ones. Hey, Shizune, I know I said I'd help, but I forgot I'd already made plans. Besides, I'd helped out for my fair share last week, didn't I? I promise I'll make it up to you some other time. I don't think I like that. Shizune and Misha release their grip on me and have a long, deep, and silent conversation. Well, you have a point there. To be honest, we were only going to spend the rest of the rest of the budget on cakes. So if you're not there, it works out better. More cake for us. Wah! Shizune about faces and marches out the door. Misha skips out after her. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Last week those two were like bloodhounds, or prison guards. Or maybe prison guards bred from bloodhounds. I can't believe I just thought that, let alone saying it out loud. I think I need to move away from Kenji. Never mind. Anyway, should we go to the library? Sure. A thought just occurred to me. What I could do... I think I might do that, actually. Is that... like, this episode and the ones after it are going to be going toward the bad ending. But I'm going to do, like, a split path. So I'll pull up, like, an annotation and, like... be, like, on the other option. Because it works out that way. And that'll go to, like... the other parts of the arc. Then, again, it'll split somewhere else. Yeah, I think that'll work. Just, I'll be high there for a second. So, yeah. Continuing on from this point, we'll be going to the bad ending. But there'll be another episode going up on the same day as this one, going for the other two. So I think that works. Hanako follows me through the still crowded halls of the library, using me as a shield. As soon as we are through the door, Hanako bolts for the counter where Yuko is stacking books. Before I can catch up, Hanako has whispered something to her. You'd find that in non-fiction, but I don't know where exactly. If you want, I can look it up. Never mind. Yuko, what's all this about? Oh, Hisao, Hanako was just looking for a book on... nothing. A book on nothing? Is it in the non-fiction section? I was just... I shoot a glance at Yuko. She looks like she's about to burst from the pressure of keeping Hanako's request secret. Yuko, what did... Chess! She's looking for a chess book. I make a mental note to never entrust Yuko with any important information. Yuko... Sorry, Hanako, just slipped out. It's not a secret anymore. Come on, I'll give you a hand. I should really brush up on my skills, too. Okay. Yuko disappears behind the counter in shame as Hanako and I wander into the depths of the non-fiction section. I know there's supposed to be a system for categorizing these books, but I don't see how anyone can decipher it without spending half their life researching it. That's probably why all the librarians I know are neurotic. Toward the end of the aisle, between a book on card tricks and some book on kids' games, stands a single book bearing the title Chess Tactics for Champions. Before I can reach for it, Hanako has the book in her hands, clutching it to her chest. Well, I guess that's yours then. Mind if I borrow it when you're finished? Sure, I haven't really played against anyone but Lily before, so I thought... Damn, it's not like I was trying to beat Hanako deliberately or anything, but she seems to have taken it to heart. Then again, at least this means she wants to play me again. That's a plus, right? Well, it's not like I'm a master or anything. I just played a bit before. It occurs to me that I haven't told Hanako about my condition. I faltered for a second, deciding to cover my tracks. That's a conversation for another day. Before I came here. Are you alright? Yeah, I was just remembering something. When I think about it, I shouldn't be afraid to tell Hanako about my condition and my time in the hospital. Judging by her scar, she probably spent a fair amount of time in the hospital bed. But for some reason, I can't bring it up, at least not today, and not on short notice. Eager to break off the conversation, I grab a random book for the shelf. It's some book on the world's fastest roller coasters. Published in 1982. Well, not very up to date, but it should at least be interesting. Well, we both got books now. Should we go sit down? Hanako seems to accept my bluff, and we head to the reading nook in the back of the library. Neither of us says a word. We simply open our books and start reading. I try to read my book, but it would seem that in 1982, roller coasters weren't nearly as large as the ones built in the decade since. Most of the ones listed are made from wood. Something about that doesn't seem safe to me. If I'm going to ride on something potentially dangerous, I want it to be made out of steel or some kind of space-age alloy that has big words like titanium or ruthenium. I quickly lose interest, and my eyes wandered across the reading area to rest on Hanako. Hanako seems absorbed in her book, flicking back and forth through the pages as if confirming what she just read. I wonder if that's actually effective, or if she's just overloading herself. She unconsciously brushes her hair from her face, temporarily revealing her scar tissue. I'm still not sure about the protocol here. Is it right to ask her about her scars, or her past? How long was she in the hospital? Does she still visit the doctor? These all seem like questions that you'd ask someone who just transferred to your school, translated into your local language. But to date, no one has directly asked me any of them. Well, except Rin, but I don't think I could use her as a guide to proper social behavior. For the time being, I'll just keep my mouth shut. If someone wants you to know something, then they'll tell you. Trying to force the issue might drive Hanako back into herself. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to close the library now. Already? I checked my watch. Somehow, as I was lost in thought, nearly 2 hours have passed. Do you want to check out those books? I can do it on the way out. Please. I'm done. I'll drop this one back on the way, though. It wasn't as interesting as I first thought. Hanako marks her place with a slip of paper and stands up. The girls head to the counter, and I return my book to what I think is the right shelf. Yuko scans Hanako's book with practiced precision, yet still manages to fumble it. Oh, there we go. Third time lucky. Since it's a non-fiction book, you can only have it for a week. But that's okay. Yuko shuts down the library's computer and herds us out the door. I didn't think it was this late already. You're the one that told us you had to close. Yes, but I know, but That was before I looked at the time. I'll see you later. Yuko bolts down the hall, her handbag trailing behind her like an awkward streamer. I guess all librarians really are neurotic. Huh? Ah, never mind. I was just thinking that I've never met a librarian that can organize their time, no matter how good they are with their books. Oh, I know what you mean. Hanako smiles in amusement. It wasn't meant to be a joke, but I must have reminded her of some other librarian. I have to get back. Yeah, me too. I didn't realize it was this late. Thanks for letting me hang out with you. No problem. I'm going to my dormitory room now anyway. Do you mind if I tag along? Okay. Hanako sets off ahead of me, and I need to jog a little to reach her side. We'll walk through the gardens, eventually arriving in front of the dorm buildings. Man, you walk pretty fast. I used to play in a soccer club, and you managed to outpace me. I kind of regret saying that. It has less to do with her pace than the fact that my condition has significantly worsened my fitness. Hanako's reaction is odd. I expected an awkward attempt to downplay her walking speed, but she just blushes while looking at her feet and smiling. Silence hangs in the air between us. That happens often around Hanako, but feels slightly different than usual this time. After a few seconds, I try to break the silence. Here you go. See you in class tomorrow? Sure. Hanako waves a short goodbye before pushing her way through the dorm doors. I stand and look at them for a while before making my way to my own dormitory room. Chirping birds. Normally this would be a good time to reflect upon the beauty of nature. But it is 6 a.m. Covering my head with a pillow, I slam my face into the mattress, hoping that the impact will send me instantly back to sleep. Futile. I toss and turn, but sleep simply won't return to me. Alright, nature, you've won. See, I'm getting up now. The lack of sleep weighs my mind down. There's only one remedy for this. A nice, hearty breakfast. It would be nice to be the first person here. To be the first to dig into a piping hot pile of food, to sit wherever I desire. It would have been nice. But even my exceptionally early start has put me behind the most diligent students. I guess there are quite a few people that have early starts here, for one reason or another. A group of students in sports clothes huddle around one table, eagerly discussing game plans in between inhaling great gulps of food. Scattered around the hall are a number of bleary-eyed students, probably suffering from the same ails as myself. Noisy birds. And of course, there are the people that actually enjoy getting up this early, the ones with their bags stuffed with textbooks and completed homework. It's hard not to despise people like that, even more so when you're tired yourself. Picking out a familiar face from the thin crowd, I head toward the nearest table. Lily sits alone, delicately feeling her way around a small plate of eggs with a fork. It's almost a shame to interrupt her on the clockwork movements. I wonder, is this how a blind person zones out, simply moving in predetermined patterns learned over the years, just like how a sighted person would eat while reading a newspaper? Good morning, Lily. Didn't expect you to be here this early. Oh, Hisao, you startled me. I didn't know you took breakfast this early. I don't. This is an exception to the rule. I greatly prefer to be late to school than early to breakfast. Lily gives a small sigh at my admitted tardiness as I begin eating my food. It doesn't take long for her to lapse back into her previous mindless nibbling. Each short motion lacks energy. I suppose this is similar to letting your eyes wander while performing any ordinary chore. But after a few repetitions of the find food, eat food cycle, Lily puts her fork down and dabs her lips with a napkin. Hisao, do you mind if I ask you a question? Damn, all I wanted was a little food and about 4 hours of sleep, and nobody says, can I ask you a question for a simple question? Sure. Do you think of Hanako as a friend? Huh, this seems like a leading question. I guess so. Why do you ask? No real reason. I do have another question, though. Why is it that you think of her as a friend? This is well above my level. What is she expecting from me? I'm not really sure. I guess it's because she's a little different the way she deals with people. Since I've known her, she hasn't really connected with anyone. She doesn't seem interested in other people, and I think people are a little scared off by her appearance. Really? I thought that kind of thing was, well, discouraged here, discriminating and such. If I were to put it one way. She furrows her brow in thought, a move which makes me slightly anxious as to what... Damn it. I'd say that you're a little naive. Naive? I'd be insulted if not with a slightly cynical grin on her face. I see. While Yamaku has a stronger sense of community compared to other schools, it's far from being free of conflict. Rules cannot remove human nature, after all, only suppress it. That's something I've noticed, actually. Just little things, like how certain people and cliques avoid each other in the hallways. It's no different than my old school, really. Even Lily and Shizune could be considered bitter rivals, even though they both seem like fairly accepting people. And the fact that they're related... Well, at least the Misha-tinted Shizune does. Who knows what actually goes on with her fingers behind the glasses. Guess you're right. When I first came here, everything was a bit of a shock. I kept on making mistakes, or at least thinking I was making mistakes, like when we first met. I said, I see, to you. I didn't know if that was considered rude or anything, so I just tried to put it in the back of my mind. Treating people any differently and that kind of thing. So I didn't. I told myself that Hanako and you and everyone else was just normal, and I tried to ignore the obvious. I talked to Hanako as if she were any other person, and so we became friends. At least that's how I think it happened. But you know, I feel guilty just saying something like that aloud. As if it took extra effort to think of Hanako or you or anyone here as normal people. I don't think that's right. Hisao, I think you are naive, but I also think that you're a good person. It's perhaps one of your better traits. I suppose I can take that as a compliment. Tell me, are you free tonight? If you don't count homework, then I'm free as the breeze. In that case, would you care to join myself and Hanako for tea? I don't really have that much money at the moment, so going out isn't really... Oh, I didn't mean going out, just here, this evening. You can access the classrooms in the evening here? No, that's not what I meant. Hanako and I often use my room for tea parties together. Please feel free to drop by after dusk. Sure, I see no problems with that. What's your room number? 225, room 25 on the second floor. Okay, sure. Well then, I'd best be off. I have class representative duties to attend to after all. Until this evening, Hisao. Yeah, catch you later. Hang on, was I just invited to a girl's room after hours? Is that even allowed? We'll find out next time, won't we? So, next time, we will visit Lily and Hanako after hours. So until then, I'm Reckoning. You are the viewer. Drop me a like if you like this. Drop me a favorite if you really like this. Leave me a comment telling me what I should do better. Or if I should skip endings. Because if you want me to skip endings, I'll do that. Would help. But I'm not skipping the good endings. I'm not skipping those. The bad endings usually end up in depression. Or sometimes they do. Sometimes I don't care as much, but still. Until then, keep on reading.